What's going on, everybody? It's Dan Moonshine, the Hillbilly Hellraiser. How you doing? It's the same night as me recording the video I did about Hogan and Ozzy. It's a little bit later in the evening. Uh, I did want to say, first of all, isn't it great when you have your webcam set up and you forget that you had it on photo at one point, and then you go to hit record, and next thing you know, you see your stupid face stuck in a frozen position. Yeah, that's good stuff. I'm a high class tech wizard over here. But anyhow, so I had a video in mind, like I had said earlier today, that I was going to do. It's obviously a lot more positive than talking about people dying, celebrities and people that I grew up idolizing. It's better than talking about my childhood disintegrating before my eyes. But yeah, I was gonna do that, but instead I'm probably gonna wait and do that. It's been kind of a crazy day. I left the house and went and did some of my domestic stuff, and the freaking hell's mouth just opened up down here. For those of you who aren't too familiar with Florida, it's we're at the beginning of hurricane season, and what tends to happen throughout the course of the year, anyhow, is at around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the skies tend to open up. But sometimes throughout various courses of the day, you get just these crazy, like the weather's schizophrenic. It'll be a perfect blue sky and super sunny out there, and it's like, man, this is fantastic. And then next thing you know, you turn around for a quick second, and the skies are black, and there's lightning and thunder and torrential downpours, and that'll go on for like 20 minutes, and then next thing you know, it's over with, and you're like, what the hell just happened? But that's kind of what happened today. And then on top of that, uh, had some stuff dealing with some work stuff, and I ended up I had to have a meeting with one of the owners, one of the main owners. So we'll see how that goes. I wouldn't say anybody worry about me at the moment, but it was an interesting dinner, interesting conversation. And I mean, for now, the best I could say. I don't really talk about my job too much, but it was interesting to say the least, and we'll see how that goes in the future. But instead of doing the thing I had planned, I'm going to do the other thing I had planned, which was to do an album review. And let me get a quick swig of water here. And the album that I want to review is by the band Kingwitch. This is their album 3. It came out on Listenable Records on June 25th. Uh, Kingwitch are a band from Edinburgh, Scotland. They've been around since 2015. This version of the band has been together since 2018. They did a demo in 2015, and then they came out with the album. Their first full length debut was called Under the Mountain, and this is the lineup for the most part that has stayed intact, with the exception of drummer Lyle. I'm sorry, I forget his name, but Lyle something was the drummer. And he was replaced on this current album by a guy named Andrew Scott. He did all the session drum work. But the main band, they've had a couple of lineup changes between 2015, 2018, the the original EP demo and debut, with bass and drums. But it's primarily been Laura Donnelly on vocals, Jamie Gilchrist on guitars, and Rory Lee on bass. That's pretty much been the core band. Laura and Jamie were in a band called Firebrand Super Rock. Once that dissolved, they formed Kingwitch, and they were off to the races from there. This again, it's 3, so this is their third full length. The last one they did was in 2020, and then they did an EP in 2021. And yeah, it's been a few years since they put something out, but it's a fantastic release. A couple more little quick news and notes here. It was mastered by Grant Berry at Fader Mastering. and Jamie Gilchrist did all of the producing and mixing at his home studio, which he calls Nameless City Studios. The artwork, I want to show that real quick. Very cool stuff. Was done by a person named Blasted Heathen. I mean, that's really, really killer stuff. Laura did the graphic design on this. Show some more of that stuff because it's really, really, really killer stuff. Check out the back. That's the band there. The liner notes and whatnot. Yeah, just kind of get a general idea of what we got going on here. King Witch is, they could be described as doom and straight up heavy metal. I referred to them as hard rock earlier today when I was describing them. I don't know how many people like watch every intricate detail of the videos that I do, but my most recent where I did I did a big I called it 6+1 new release thing, but it just a whole I just did a whole medley of various bands whose new releases I wanted to talk about but didn't really have time. And just with my life being the way it is, I just don't have time to do videos as much as I would like to. Um, so I just went ahead and did a whole just like verbal effluvian diarrhea of talking about bands. But this was one that I gave an honorable mention to, and I've heard it pretty much digitally multiple times to the point where I was listening to it on Bandcamp and that little screen pops up where it tells you, okay, it's time to either, it's time to nut up or shut up, either buy this or do whatever, or go kick rocks. And then when you decide to kick rocks, the little heart thing, it breaks, which it's funny. It just makes me laugh. And I wish they had the option where it could say, no, I already bought this. I just want to listen to it some more. But yeah, this is fantastic stuff. I would describe it as somewhere. I heard I was reading a couple things on them, and I've heard Laura's vocals being compared to Janis Joplin and Ann Wilson, and that's fair. I would even throw in she's got a vocal range and register that I would say rivals even some of my favorite vocalists, like Robert Lowe from Solitude Aeternus. And probably, I wouldn't go so far as to say Halford with those high falsettos and the vibrato that he delivers, or even like a King Diamond or something like that. But she has a very, very powerful voice. It's soulful, and it's at times, the higher keys that she hits are just blistering, and it's just overall fantastic. This thing, the riffs on it are just rough and tough and crushing and super heavy. It's hard not to headbang to this. Even me with the bionic neck, I have a hard time headbanging to anything, but there's certainly going to be little head nods and just kind of swirling the cranium around a little bit, not trying to bash up the brains against the brain case, because I got probably about two cells fighting together up there, and they're fighting for space. So we don't want to do too much damage up there. But yeah, man, this is a really, really stellar release. There's two versions of it that came out. You got the vinyl, which is about 43 minutes of music, and then the CD, which I purchased that one. Obviously, I showed it to you, but I purchased that one. That one's a 48, 49 minutes of music. You get on this one, you get a bonus track of them doing a cover at the end of Jesus Christ Pose by Soundgarden, and they kill that. They do a fantastic job on that. That's one of my favorite Soundgarden songs off of Bad Motorfinger. It's just a fantastic track. And that's kind of like, it kind of give you an idea. That's the wheelhouse of what this band, like the flavor of some of what they bring. It's definitely like, I think some people refer to it as post rock, but lots of elements of grunge in there. You can tell there's lots of grunge influence, but there's totally, just a ton of doom influences, the Sabbaths and Trouble and all the very riff centric bands, very riff heavy, groove laden stuff that you find in traditional heavy metal and doom, in that kind of like mix of subgenres. It's got all of that. There's a lot to love about this album. I mean, of the 9 tracks, I don't think there's one. I don't think they miss on anything on this. This is honestly, it's up there right now for me. Sitting here talking to you in the middle of July or towards the tail end of July. This is up there in top 5 for me as far as albums I've heard this year. It's definitely ranking up high for me. It's going to be interesting how I would rate it against other things that have come out this year because there's particularly in the doom genre there and the stoner doom and sludge and all that. There's been some fantastic releases. I got one I'm going to be talking about pretty soon here that is it just another one I found by happenstance and it completely blew me away. But there's been some fantastic releases in the doom genre that have come out this year. This one, that new Angel of Damnation that I talked about briefly. There's one that's coming out by a band called Demon Smoker. I'll just, spoiler alert, but I'll talk about, that they're a fantastic band. The new Pagan Altar is really good. I was just spinning that the other day again, and that one's just killer. The new Witchcraft, you got Pentagram. There's a ton of good bands that have put stuff out in just that one subgenre of metal, and then just a ton of other stuff. So it's going to be interesting. I think time like half of the year, half the way through the year, that Hexea, the Ancient Gaping Mouth, that one's going to be a hard one to beat. That is really, really a killer album. But this one is definitely giving it a run for its money. I got to say that. Um, as far as my favorite tracks on it, I'd say Digging in the Dirt. If you want to hear a song right off the rip that's going to really get your attention, I would check that one out. The single that they put a music video out for, Swarming Flies, that's a really good one. The opener, Suffer in Life, is really good. The closer, Last Great Wilderness, that is a fantastic track. Very melodic at times, very ethereal, to use an adjective. Um, and just, there's lots of ebbs and flows and dynamics with this. They even do, I would say, like throw a little homage to Sabbath, where you have that very, very melodic, acousticy, not quite just a heavy rockin' song, but more like a mellow number towards the middle. With that one is called Little Witch, and that's a really cool one. And but Sea of Lies is a really good song, and just man, this thing is really it's a really really good one. Again, they killed it doing the Jesus Christ pose, and that one was going to be an interesting one for me because to try to replicate or even do justice to Chris Cornell's vocals is it's a challenge. I mean, he had a really sensational voice. He had a really powerful voice. Uh, very unmistakable sound and tone to his vocal approach. Uh, Another one who you hear a Chris Cornell track and you knew it was Chris Cornell, you knew it was Soundgarden or Audio Slave. Not as much an Audio Slave as I am Soundgarden, but I love that early Soundgarden stuff. I probably dropped off with them around Super Unknown, but yeah, I love a lot of Soundgarden stuff, particularly that Bad Motorfinger. That's one of my favorite grunge albums of all time. I like a little bit of grunge, but anyhow, I'm kind of babbling and going, doing my normal thing that I do on this stupid video channel. But yeah, man, I would absolutely recommend this if you're a fan of any type of straight up heavy metal and doom metal, little mixes of that. If you love some of the bands I mentioned earlier in the video, I would check this out. You can get it on Listenable Records. It's a French label. I didn't get it through them just because of I talk about it quite a bit, the shipping charges, and sometimes and especially with the way that things are working out with all like the tariff business and all that sort of thing, it definitely presents a little bit more of challenges to getting stuff from overseas. So I went again, unfortunately, went to the Evil Empire and picked it up through Amazon, and I got it. I ordered it earlier earlier in the week or late last week and got it today, and it's fantastic. I mean, I can't overstate enough. They did a fantastic job on this. Again, Laura Donnelly, she's like, to me, she's the star of this. The vocal approach lyrically, a lot of this goes into dealing with mental illness and just like the struggles of humanity and things of that nature. Very very cool stuff. A lot more cerebral, if I could say that properly, than maybe some of the other stuff that I listen to. As far as like the death, doom, and destruction kind of style of music that I like as well. But this one's a little bit more. It gets a little bit more profound, not so much esoteric. That's the wrong choice of words, but it definitely delves into topics that I think will resonate with a lot of different people. And if you're following along with it, it's good stuff. Again, I can't recommend this one enough. If you like your doom heavy and you like your riffs and you like your headbanging, this one is straight up your alley. Again, I can't say enough good things about this one. Go pick up Three by King Witch. It is a fantastic album. You will not be disappointed by it. And yeah, man, that's what I got to say about it. So yeah, beyond that, probably tomorrow, barring me losing my job or anything extreme like that, I'll probably do another video before my weekend ends, and yeah, it should be a good one. But as always, so that's pretty much what I got. I'm trying to think of any other things that I wanted to mention real quick. Can't really think of much. I will say, I do got a couple things. I'll say thank you to the people who've been watching my videos. I got to thank Drucifer. I got to throw a special shout out to him. I saw a short of his where he had spoken about a band called Cider and their album Jerkanthropy. And I had asked him, I'd requested if it was okay with him, if I had his permission to promote a review I did of the album on his channel. And he's like, sure, no problem. So I shot him the link. And then he shares my video out, and it's gotten quite a few more views since he kind of promoted that, signal boosted a little bit. So that was very cool. I got to thank him for that. You know, my videos don't get a whole hell of a lot of views. It's not a very, it's not a really heavily watched channel as far as like the metal YouTube, but it does all right for what I figure with the numbers that I have. It's pretty much what I expect would be my, the type of numbers that I would get. And honestly, I say it, I've said it once, I'll say it 1,000 times. The fact that I went from having 12 subscribers back in the new year of 2023 going into 20, at the tail end of 2023, and then heading into 2024. We're now in past the halfway point of 2025 and having almost 400. That's pretty wild to me. I mean, it's certainly, I'm not doing like friggin' like a million subscribers or even 1,000 or anything like that. But it's pretty cool. I figure this is fun for me. It's something to kind of just engage with people, and it always trips me out that anybody watches any of this, watches some dumb half-assed hillbilly babbling about heavy metal and pro wrestling and horror movies and all the other crazy nonsense that I tend to babble about. But I appreciate it. I find it I find it fun. I get a lot of enjoyment out of it, and I like getting to interact with people, engage with people, getting to meet people. At least in the digital space, and hopefully in the future, I get to meet a few people out in the real world and get to hang out with them, say hi. Maybe give them a hug or something like that, and just kind of of course a handshake, but yeah, man, it's wild. And then on top of Drucifer, this dude, Ethereal Metal Records, I want to say that's his name. And I'll stall for time real quick here, but he just subscribed to my channel, which is very cool of him. And he looks like he's got a pretty good channel. I haven't checked out a lot of it. Uh, I'll actually probably edit most of this out, all this dead air, because it's always great to have dead air. Just sitting there playing with your phone. Ethereal Metal Records. Yeah, I got that correct. He's got a channel. He's been doing some stuff lately. I don't know if he came from a different platform or he took some time off from doing videos, but anyone who's got a Cannibal Corpse Butchered at Birth banner is all right in my book. And yeah, man, go check him out. He was kind enough to sub to me, sub to him. If you like his stuff, go check him out. He's been popping up honestly on my algorithm, and I watch little brief bits of him talking about his opinion on metalheads, and I think like the elitism versus and the gatekeeping stuff. Like all that interesting stuff. So yeah, man, go check him out, and then yeah, thanks to anybody who's been commenting on my videos, subscribing, sharing them out. Just spreading the word about this crazy ass hillbilly down in Tampa, just talking about whatever comes to mind. Barry from that Goat Metal show, him talking about some of the stuff I sent to him, which I'm glad to do that stuff. I wish I could do more of it. I wish I was more of a Dan Gates or Dan Bezos kind of dude, but I'm not. But I wish I could do more often for more people. But you got to keep things within reality, and I hope to do more of that in the future, and potentially just grow this a little, see where we can ride this mother till the wheels come off. That's kind of the plan here, and yeah, just go from there. So anyhow, be on the lookout for some more content. I've babbled on probably 3 minutes longer than I really wanted to, but I got some cool stuff planned in the near future. I'll probably do it tomorrow, and then yeah, we'll just go from there. So this is Dan from Moonshine Talking. Everybody, as always, stay sick, stay heavy, stay brutal. Always tuck your chin upon impact, and don't forget to breathe. Everybody have a good one. Take it easy, and I'll catch you on the next video. Later.